We're gonna do a medicine ball side toss with the Dynamax ball. The Dynamax ball is great because it's soft, easy on the hands, and it's also gonna bounce well off of the wall. So what we're gonna do with a side throw is we're gonna developing power in the hips and in the trunk. So I'm gonna have Brett get in a good athletic position here. He's gonna hold the ball on that outside hip. We wanna think about scooping and throwing and rotating those hips towards the wall forcefully. We really wanna cue the athlete to throw it as hard as possible because we're trying to develop explosive rotational power at the hips and the pelvis. We're gonna do a medicine ball chest pass with the Dynamax ball. The Dynamax ball is nice because it's soft, so when it bounces off the wall, you don't have to worry about hurting your fingers like you might with a harder medicine ball. What we wanna do here in this drill is work on developing upper body power, and we're gonna do a hip hinge and throw chest pass. So I wanna see Brett drop into the hips. He's gonna drive hard and try to coordinate that hip extension with the explosion through his arms and his chest. We really wanna cue the athlete to throw this ball as hard as possible so we can develop explosive power through the chest and shoulders. We're gonna do a hip-to-hip toss using the Dynamax ball. This drill is gonna be to develop hip and trunk rotational power. So I wanna see Brett get in a good athletic position here. He's gonna hold it in front of his hip. He's gonna rotate, explode towards the wall, and we're gonna alternate sides. So we wanna work on his ability to alternate loading one hip, loading the other hip. This is gonna be a great drill for our rotational athletes to teach them how to alternate hip rotation, develop explosive power in the hips and in the trunk. We're gonna do a shot put throw using the Dynamax ball. This is gonna be a great exercise to develop trunk as well as chest and shoulder upper body power. So I'm gonna have Brett get in a position perpendicular to the wall, elbow up high. He's gonna load that shoulder. I wanna see him rotate and punch that ball towards the wall. We really wanna see nice high elbow position. We wanna see him rotate and follow through so he's developing power in his trunk, his anterior shoulder, and really loading that scapula and upper body shoulder area to try to develop power in his upper quarter. We're gonna do an overhead wall throw using the Dynamax ball. This is gonna be a great drill to develop power in the anterior trunk muscles as well as the shoulders and upper body. It's gonna be a great exercise to use for your throwing athletes especially. So I'm gonna have Brett get far out from the wall. He's gonna reach that ball up over the head, and I want him to snap down, aiming for about chest height on the wall. We want him to really think about throwing that ball as hard as he can so we can really work on developing power in those trunk muscles and his shoulder muscles. If we want to progress from here, we can make it more dynamic and into a more full body drill. And what we're simply gonna have him do is add a step. So he's gonna take a hard drive step to the wall, explode, and we can alternate sides. Let's get both sides. We're gonna step hard towards the wall. That's gonna allow us to generate more power in our throw. So we wanna progress from a standing variation to a stepping variation to increase the amount of power. We're gonna do an overhead medicine ball slam using the Dynamax ball. This is gonna be a great drill to develop anterior trunk power as well as upper body power. And a slam is a really good exercise. If you don't have access to a wall, you can still use a medicine ball for upper body power drills. So I'm gonna have Brett get nice and tall, slam, try to break the ball. We really want him to think about getting a stretch and then reacting, slamming that ball downwards like he wants to break it. If we want to progress it to a more multi-planar drill, we can go side to side slam. So this is going to add a rotational element. He's going to coil, rotate, slam that ball outside of his outside foot. So now we're incorporating more of the obliques rather than just the anterior core musculature. So we can progress from a standard slam to an alternating slam and develop power in multiple planes using the Dynamax ball. We're gonna do a crunch to throw using the Dynamax ball. This is gonna be a great drill, especially for our overhead throwing athletes to develop anterior core power and teach them how to utilize a stretch reflex and utilize that into an overhead throw. So I'm gonna get Brett down here in a crunch position, his knees bent, feet flat. He's gonna reach that medicine ball over the head and whip it in the wall. We wanna see that he stretches out and then flings it right up overhead as hard as he can. We really want him to get that snap with the hand. That's gonna help him learn how to use his anterior abdominal muscles as well as his lats to stretch and produce power. Good. We're gonna do a straight leg sit-up using the Dynamax ball as a weight. Straight leg sit-up is a great anterior core exercise, and the use of the Dynamax ball can provide some external load to further challenge the client. So I want Brett with his legs out straight. He's gonna sit up as tall as he can. The cue I wanna use him is think like you're trying to reach that medicine ball all the way to the ceiling. Then I want him to go down nice and slow to get a little bit more time under tension on his abdominals. Again, you really wanna cue him to sit up nice and tall and reach at the top. And then if we wanna make this a little bit harder, we're just gonna have him bend one of his legs. So we're gonna bend that one flat. Wanna make sure we cue him to keep those feet planted firmly on the ground. So now he has to work a little bit harder to get that sit-up position. We're gonna have him do one side, and then he'll switch to the other side and repeat the same exact exercise on the opposite side. We're gonna do a Russian twist using the Dynamax ball. So I'm gonna have Brett get in a crunch position with his feet flat on the ground, hips flexed, and I want him to really focus on trying to maintain this trunk position. We wanna resist rotation as that ball is coming across our torso. We wanna be able to maintain that crunch position without breaking into extension. This is gonna be a great way to train his obliques as well as his rectus abdominis musculature. If we wanna challenge him a little bit more, we're simply just gonna have him lift his feet right up off the ground. Now he has to support those legs out there. That's really gonna challenge him to be able to maintain this position as he reaches that ball back and forth across his body. We're gonna do a partner sit-up throw using the Dynamax ball. This is gonna have one person down on the ground in a sit-up position, whereas our other partner here in standing. The nice thing about the Dynamax ball is it's soft, so if you throw it to their partner, their hands are gonna be safe, not gonna hurt their fingers. And so the point of this drill is, we're gonna have Shelby down here. Brett's gonna throw the ball up overhead to her. She's gonna have to decelerate using her abdominals, and she's gonna throw it back to Brett. He's gonna throw it just overhead, just in her reach, and that's gonna really force her to have to use her abdominal muscles to break on the way down, and then she's concentrally gonna snap back and throw that ball back to Brett. We're gonna do a partner medicine ball chest pass using the Dynamax ball. Dynamax ball is a great tool for partner drills like this because it's soft and safe, and you're not gonna hurt your hands or your fingers. So what we're gonna do is kind of a hip hinge and chest pass. So Brett's gonna sit back in his hips, he's gonna explode, throw it, Shelby's gonna catch it, return it back and forth. We want them to think about driving through their legs and their hips and exploding that power out through their hands right over towards their partner. We're gonna do a partner reverse toss using the Dynamax ball. And so this is gonna be a rotational power exercise. We're gonna have two partners facing away from each other. They're about 6 feet apart. What they're gonna do is get in a good athletic position. We wanna see them turn and twist and pass that ball posteriorly. They're gonna catch, then accelerate, and toss it going the other direction. So you see they're going in this direction. Now what we'll do is we'll reverse. So I'm gonna have Shelby go the opposite way. We can work power in the opposite direction. We wanna see that they're rotating their hips as well as rotating their spine. So we wanna see some good hip rotation going through there, developing power in the transverse plane.